right. Welcome back to the Command Your Brand Show. I'm your host, Josh Silvestro, brand ambassador of Command Your Brands. So in this episode, I have a very special friend of mine who's I'm going to be talking to today, who's actually in the cleaning business and cleaning industry of, cleaning the world and making it a better and cleaner place. So she is actually a dear friend of mine who comes from Hungary. She hails from Hungary. She has 16 years of cleaning experience in this industry. And she actually owns Andy's Quality Cleaning. So I'd like to introduce you guys to the CEO of Andy's Quality Cleaning, Andrea. So thanks for joining the show.
Thanks, Josh. And thanks for the introduction and having me here. I'm excited. Of course.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to first start with, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background. I know you obviously come from Hungary. Just tell us a little bit how you started your company and how you got to where you are today.
All right. So I'm a very much, I can tell, a Hungarian warrior, like going for battles and challenges. And that's the way I am since, thank God. And basically, I just decided I really want to change my life. That's the bottom line. Yeah. I had a really good life in Hungary. No complaints, really. I just wanted to change it just because it was so living one day to another. And I didn't like the fact that I didn't see my future. I didn't see where it's going and how I'm going to save, how I'm going to have my own things I want to have, right? And even I loved what I was doing. I was a teacher. I was teaching German and hip hop dance. And I had 2 jobs, actually. So I was pretty booked from morning till night. You didn't see me. Yeah. So basically, that's what I was doing. And then somehow I met a person who actually invited me to the US. And I said, once in a lifetime chance. And I said, you know what? I should go for it. I should go for it. I felt like this is for me. When you really feel inside, okay, I need to go for it. So I prepared. And then it took me a little bit of time because I had to get, all the paperwork done, agreements with my jobs, what's going to happen after that or what's going to, happen. But basically I took off, I figured it all out. And then I said, okay, I'm going to take a risk and go with 4 luggages. Too big, too small. Just so at that time, the airline still allowed these much, just so you know how 16 years changes things. The world is going smaller.
That's right. Yeah.
We are going bigger. So
that's right.
Depends how we think, right? So basically, I took the chance and I went on the flight. It was a very tough flight for me because we hit a storm and we were running out of energy. And then the pilot was like, we have to go down to get some energy more. So we keep running so we can actually land in New York. And we finally land at midnight. And I got in. And then finally I get through the door, the last door, the immigration door. And then someone just stops me at the door and, hey, you, and says, why you have 4 luggages for 10 days? So I had to come up right away, an instant answer, and it just came out of me. And I said, I'm a woman. And perfectly worked. Yeah. So that's why I came into the US with some humor, because you have to have that too, for the risk. You have to take it as a game.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And what about, so I guess when you came into the country, like you came in and like what did you do after you came into the country?
Yeah. So basically I was staying with my friend for 2 weeks. And then I only had 10 days because I had a flight back, right? So I actually I had only 10 days to find a job and get going. And basically within 5 days, I found a job. I found a girl who was also Hungarian, but she was ending her cycle here. She was ending her life moment here after 10 years. Yeah. And she had over 30 clients in cleaning. And she gave me basically 8 clients. And those 8 clients were my base. That's where I started with. And I really followed all her instructions. She really trained me in little by little. So I took notes and she really turned over what she was doing exactly.
Wow, it's interesting. And that's how you got into the cleaning business.
That's how I got into, and then how I built up. Basically, I was just learning, improving, finding better ways, promotion, marketing. I started to know people, and I started growing so fast with all my study, because I was also studying a lot, and it was rapidly growing. And basically, at some point, I couldn't handle it. I just could not handle by myself. And I started hiring someone. Then I created a training program myself. Like, okay, I wrote down a checklist, what we actually do, what exactly the things we do in the cleaning. So it was very detailed. So the person was able to follow it, whoever I trained. So then I had a second person, and then I had a third, and that's how we started growing. And then obviously the numbers are going up with like how many clients I had. And we reached, within 2 years, I think over 100 clients. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. And so I guess going into the cleaning area, because, I have some experience, in a bit of cleaning, like just not a whole bunch, like obviously like not like you. So like for you, so you mostly do household type things, or is it like companies, or what do you do? Yeah.
Yeah. So we started from household only. And we started growing so much that people actually were asking me, can you do my office? And then I'm like, okay, let me take a look. So that was a new area. And I'm like, holy moly, there are new materials. There are new, just saying new floor, new type of furnitures. And then the dust is also different there because of commercial. Some people work with, just an example, I have a company who actually creates furnitures. So even their office down there, like where they're creating it, the dust comes up. So it was like just a different type of work I had to kind of groove into and learn more about it. But I did start commercial back in 2017.
Wow. Interesting.
So commercial and household.
Wow. So with your company, so you just go to all different areas around New York City and Jersey, right?
Right now, we actually expanding, and in New Jersey, we are doing Hudson County and Essex County now. Essex County only 2 months now. So we are growing in New Jersey as well. And in New York City, obviously, every borough we do. And in New York State, it's basically from New York City within 30 miles we go. And now newly, we are doing Florida as well in Clearwater and surroundings.
Wow, that's interesting. So you've went out of the tri-state area, and now you're moving to basically the right half of the United States.
That's right. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So I guess I want to kind of dive into, just the cleaning space a little bit. Like, you're kind of like an authority in that kind of area because you're a cleaning expert. So like, I know a lot of people try to clean their house. Maybe they don't do a good job. Do you find that when you clean people's houses or offices, they kind of either use the wrong product or they use, or that feel like they say, oh yeah, we clean every day, every week. And like they go and it's like trash. It's just like not great.
Yeah, I kind of had that experience when I'm the one who's going to do the estimates. I'm doing the estimates. I'm so good at it now. I'm not just promoting myself, but now without seeing it, I can tell how many hours it will take without seeing it. And that's a big deal. Big deal. They just tell me the space, how many rooms they have or how many offices they have, how much square feet, and then I can actually estimate without seeing it. If they tell me they had a service before and it was maintained monthly or biweekly or daily, I always say, okay, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Then I want to see it in person because you see that's where it can go wrong, the estimate.
Right.
Now, answering your question. Yes, it's always something they say we did that, we do that. But when I really, when it comes to the wrong product, absolutely they use the wrong product or they didn't touch areas that were since they moved in. So I always tell them on the phone really fast, like on the briefing, like this is what we do. And then I just go through my list, boom, 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 boom. This is the basic. And on the basic, we do have to do a deep cleaning first. So we actually put you on the standard, the high standard where we are at. And that's the first time we always do the deep cleaning. And then after that, the main cleaning is a different story because a different story comes from the estimate would be different, right? Like the maintenance is less money than the deep cleaning.
Totally. Interesting. So then when they call you, I guess you set up like a pricing of like you estimate based on what it looks like or just like the space? Is that how it works?
It depends. Like, let's say, they right away tell me in the first time, okay, at the first time that, okay, we just want a one-time thing cleaning, right?
Yeah.
Because we selling the place or la, 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 la. Or they telling me, okay, after the one time, we actually want to keep you. I say, look, it's up to you, how you want to do it. And do you have time in person to actually show me the place? That's always what I ask for first, because in person, I can give exact accurate estimate. But if they say they just want to know because they still choosing from other companies, I say, okay, I can tell you an estimate. I just send I ask questions that I exactly need to know how often was cleaning, how often was the cleaning, how much the square feet, how many again rooms are they have, and then I can actually estimate it. And normally my estimates are so good without even seeing it that I'm only off like 30 minutes. Really.
Wow.
So
That's interesting. And so I know on the cleaning, right? Because we talked about like, the cleaning products that you use, it's like some people use the wrong product, some people just use something really random. So I guess for people who, let's say, I don't know, either hire someone or they're having their own cleaning business, like what do you suggest to people? Because I know you're a founder and you're CEO of Andy's Quality Cleaning. What do you suggest to people who have cleaning, like what they should use and how they should use it?
So basically, I really suggest everybody to make sure that they actually also taking care of their health. And because we already surrounded with so much chemical and in food products and just in the air.
Yeah.
So it's better to have organic products. So I definitely suggest any organic product they can get. What I use is pretty much also on an organic base, and why I like it is basically because it does an extra thing, adding to the cleaning. It does push away the dust for longer term, some reason, whatever it's inside. I think it's coming from a tree, and basically it doesn't smell, and it does make things shinier, and just a general shine, not like oily shine, just generally, and it makes the furniture actually much nicer. I don't know how to say it. And that the dust gets away for longer term. Like other products I used before, it's like one week later, I see the dust, and after this, 2 weeks.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. So then for people who, let's say, run cleaning businesses, what do you think is something people do to get more clients? Like what is your successful actions in getting more clients or keeping clients? Like because I know a lot of people use them, sometimes they use them for a one shot, like they just have one client that pays really well and that's kind of it. Or they buy one person and then they kind of forget about that person who just cleaned, then they move on to the next person. So what do you suggest to people to have a routinely what's the word I'm looking for? Have a client that always comes back to you. What is a successful action, do you think, that helps with that?
The care. You really care about the person. You really care about the needs always. Because I believe that every 6 months life changes, even sooner sometimes. And every 6 months I ask if anything new they want to add the list, anything new change. Sometimes they get a pet, so things change. So I always care. It's not just like one time I got the client and it's mine forever. No, if I don't keep it in communication, I will lose it.
Right.
And that's one thing. And then basically the care factor goes into that how I improve. So I ask a survey. I have a survey and I ask, how can we improve? And they answer me, and they're very nice. And then they just tell me, this is what I would love you to do. Is this okay? And then we get into communication. So I always care about the clients. I'm not saying every day, because not every day, but I do have a system and I follow it. Like basically I didn't talk to this person this time ago. So I need to get in communication to see what's going on. Everything's okay. And then I just see their reaction, if they're happy or not. And then that's how I go with. I just look at them or hear them. And even from their answer, I can tell if they're happy or not. And then I make sure if they're not, then I fix it. Because that's always just more needs, because the change always there.
Yeah. I find it really interesting is, talking about the systems and things that you put in place. Like, I think it's very fascinating because each organization, even such a thing as cleaning is like, there's an organizational matter and there's a system of actually how to do it. And there's either a right way or a wrong way. And it seems like that, what you've made is really a successful action in terms of either getting more clients or keeping clients that you've had over time because of they liked your service so much.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, the care factor definitely one selling point. The other thing is your products and your professionalism. You know what you're doing, right. And then getting always new clients in is a must. You can't sit around with all clients that you have for 16 years.
Right.
No, it's not how it goes. You always have to put out yourself. You have to put yourself out there every time, no matter what. And new promotions always, like always a sale, always a deal. See where I can actually make this more interesting and more interested. And I always find new level of interest in cleaning. Like what's the people's interest now these days? Why would they hire me?
Right.
And a selling point is really the organic point, the care factor, and the professionalism. These three.
Interesting. Because I know also too is that as time is going on, like you and I have known each other for 15 years, and cleaning has definitely evolved in those 15 years between the technology and like the servicing industry. Like who is it? I just saw something about like, I don't know if you know this, but like, they made a kitty robot cleaning machine that basically cleans the cat litter for you. And just all it does is spins around, So do you think over time, do you think like some of these things maybe get replaced, like in terms of like, either technology or the overall things that are done by cleaning?
I have a funny answer for this.
Okay.
Because I do have these running around machines already on the floor, right? And sometimes I do make videos with it, me and Selfie, and then they want to try to replace me, with these kind of circle things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this: a robot would never able to reach high, but it would some basic. And that's good for basic, but not for high standards. And what I'm looking for is high standard clients and high standard services to give, so their quality life better,
Right.
With the AIs and all these things that coming in is actually, it's a good help. Somebody who doesn't have any time for any kind of basic time, for between their jobs and being home or being in the office and clean. That I understand they would save some money on it, but somebody who wants really high quality level of cleaning and care, who actually could go out, even buy them whatever they need, or take the dog down, like extra services we also do, if there is interest in it, that an AI might be, this is the funny answer. An AI, a robot can actually stuck into between a chair and a bed and would not move anymore, And then what do you do from far away in your office to restart?
So it sounds like we should stick with humans for a while.
In cleaning, I suggest if you want a really quality life. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, and with cleaning, right? You mentioned before that you also train people to do it. Do you also do it to other companies as well? Or like other people who want to start cleaning businesses? Do you also help them with that as well?
Not yet, but there was interest already in it.
Yeah.
And I'm really open for it. Open for it to create actually my own training program for others to help. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I found was quite interesting is trying to find someone you can trust in in giving you a product, I'll give an example is, I bought something off like Amazon, but it's like, you look into it more, like you dive deep more into it. It's like this cheap product from like Alibaba or like, some Chinese company. It's like kind of a knockoff of something else. And it's like the quality isn't there. And sometimes you'll find with some services, like, I'm not saying like all cleaning people are like this, but like, a lot of services that people do, like, let's say I ran into someone who was a podcast editor and he does like all these podcast stuff. And, he's, I can get you these 100,000 listeners, but then when you see the product that he's done, it's like not quite there. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting that you bring that up. It's like the only standard that you want is the highest standard possible for cleaning. So I think that's super important.
Yeah. It is because people may not realize it, so it's good that we talk about the quality life, because as much as you are clean, as much as your space, it doesn't matter. It can be an office, your home. It's much as more aesthetic that how you can actually create even more in your own life.
Right.
Like I believe, and that's our product too, what we're going for is really their life quality improves. So with their life quality improves, basically they can produce more in their own life, so they make more money.
Right. That makes sense. And it's a good product too, because, it's sort of like, I forget where I heard this from. You probably know where you heard this from too. You probably heard the same thing where people talk about a clean room or a clean house is a clean mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like if you don't have a clean house, like for example, you have people still in our workaday world who work from home or they work from a very small space, and you see that room and everything else around them is a mess. So it kind of leaves the question, like what's in their mind, like what's going on, So it's very.
I don't want to know.
That's right. But it's really interesting that you bring that up, because you actually do feel better in a cleaned environment, because when everything's all messy and like disorganized, it doesn't feel right, and it's almost harder to work, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And I love hearing when I'm by a client, we're doing our job, and their phone rings and they get a big sale, and then I know I created it.
Totally.
I know.
That's great. So I guess like we'll go into that one next. So for you, like what are some success stories that you've had in your business where like, wow, like that was such a great win that I had, after cleaning your office, or anything you've heard from clients that you thought was like, wow, I felt really good when I did. I'm sure you have a couple.
Ooh, I don't know which one to pick, really.
Whichever stands out for you.
There was a couple. I really like those couple because they're very successful already in their life. So what else I can add to it, right? So that was kind of a challenge, like, okay. And then there was like, they were actually creating a family, and the lady was actually around my age, and running into the same issues, like having babies, la la la. But we're not going into personal life. But I just wanted to tell you, like, basically they were creating a family, and they were just married, and but they were already very successful, really, really high level people.
Yeah,
in New York City, and they had actually, or they have a really high level of home and office. And I got both at the same time. And then, okay, how I'm going to handle it? Because at the time when they hired me, I was still not in, like the employees, I had not enough. And when I got that, I just said, I'm going to handle it no matter what, and overnight we had to do a deep cleaning on basically 5 floors.
Wow.
And that's over, I think it's over 30,000 square feet. And, so that was a challenge, but we did it, and top to bottom, like every single corner, every single glass, every single stainless steel, everything was done. But at that day, I was just, when 8 p.m. we came out, I was like, oh, I'm tired. But I did it. And then what happened, what was what I created for them, within a half a year, they had a baby.
Wow.
And I felt like I did contribute to that. I did help to have that, whatever their goal was, to have a baby in a nice, clean, healthy, organic environment, so they can actually create their own family.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I really like those. I like those success stories, when you help someone and you don't realize how much an effect you create until you do it. And it's like, oh, wow, I helped with that. And they thank you for it. It's kind of like you almost feel appreciated more than besides the dollar that you get paid.
Right, exactly.
That's very cool. So I guess like with, in the cleaning industry, and, I guess my next question is like, for people who are have their own businesses or have their own spaces, like, what do you want to say to them that would help them be more productive, or be more like, how do you think would be very cool to actually organize, and how they should help their environments a bit?
Always challenge. Yeah, always challenge yourself. Like go for a risk. Right now, I'm in a risk. Okay.
Yeah.
And because this Clearwater thing and surroundings, it's a big step up for me going out of state and finding the new rules, finding out the new clients, like finding out the new needs because they have different needs than New York people. I just found out.
Really? Interesting.
They really want something else done, that we don't need it here. Anyway, I don't get into too much, but to answer your question is really what makes me going every day and go for a new goal is key. It's like you have to have that feeling in you every day when you wake up that, okay, what am I jumping for today? Like a bungee jumping. You have to feel that every day in your stomach or in you to go for it as a challenge. Or another example, you can just feel you have no money in your bank account. Just feel that. Just feel that. Okay, so you actually what do you gonna do? You get in action. Every day, get in action, no matter what. Even if you feel tired, if you feel relaxed, I have enough in my bank account. Don't feel that way. Feel that way that you don't.
Interesting. And I guess for people who are listening, it's kind of like you have to put the pressure on you in growing your business because you need to actually produce something. If you don't produce it, then you won't get the product of higher money or higher products that you're trying to sell or your goal is trying to get met. So you have to push yourself to actually do it.
Yeah, you have to push yourself. My barrier is right now two big barriers I'm running into on this new state is the hurricane. Second time in a row wants to stop me to not go there. And I'm rescheduling my clients because I'm supposed to fly out next week, and it's Helena decided to come this way. That way, not New York, but actually might come New York too. I don't know. just to have a barrier, so I'm not bored.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's one. The nature is a barrier. So I have to learn that. What are the months that are actually good? But besides that, we actually moving down there. So by November, December, it's going to happen. So it's not going to be a problem going back and forth between New York and Clearwater. But right now, that's one barrier. And the second barrier is really to have them decide for my company because I'm not saying there are I'm not looking at never competitions.
Yeah.
But why to choose me is the button I'm still looking for in there. Like what is their most important thing that they need?
Right.
That's what I meant on button. So what they need to get as a product in cleaning, because it's different than here in New York.
Totally. And of course, any area you go, it's sort of like you've run into like different places want different needs and people want different things. So it's sort of interesting, like, because Florida, is already super chilled out. Like it's very Florida. Full a lot of, I call it the old people state. Just kidding. But it's kind of funny is like, people are different. They want different needs because New York, it's very condensed, whereas Florida isn't really condensed, very spread out.
But I could actually give you a demo how SEA goes, So in New York is like, okay, when do you have time? I need it tomorrow. Can you do it tomorrow? I just have it this time. Okay, if you can do it tomorrow, we fine. So what's the button? No time.
Right.
Okay, now I have a lot of other business owners, I think. Mm-hmm. Okay, the second by Florida, second demo. How you doing? Okay, so I would like to have this done, and this done, and that. And then, is there a whole group is coming, or just you, or just two, or and then I answer the questions, right? It's a relaxed zone. I'm not trying to make them funny, okay? It's a relaxed zone. They're not worried about anything, okay? And then it comes to the point, okay, so I'm going like do, too much speed. So, I get this reaction, right? They actually back out and they don't answer me. And then, okay, I have to slow down with not my antagonistic style or very rushed style in New York.
Right.
So I do it nicely. And then I say, oh, okay, that works for me. Thank you very much. See you then. So I slow down and then I give them space and then they answer me that, da, da, da. But I try to do it as fast as possible within the same day. So we don't actually spend too much time on it.
Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because you're going to a different place, it actually affects what they need to want. And I guess for people who are listening, it's always good to find out if you're selling something, you find out what they need to want. Like what are they looking for? What do they need help with? And I think that's what Andrea, you mentioned was just how much they're affected by it. And like you're trying to find something that's going to really, create something in a better for them so that they can achieve what they want to achieve and do what they want to do. And that's what I think you're trying to do is you're trying to clean their space so that they feel like they're a little more freed up and not like, I can do this now.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to basically free them up so they don't need to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And that gives that free time already for their own production, whatever they need to do in their life, in their work, whatever they need to do with their own time.
Nice. So I guess as like a very general CEO question, what do you find, because you handle a production of people going out and clean. So I guess for people who are listening, who have production teams like that, like either in different industries or even just cleaning, what do you suggest to people to organize and really have a system laid out for them to actually just do what you're doing?
First, they have to have an organizing system, and everybody knows what their job is and what their product is, and then from that on, they have their own job write up, what they need to do and what they need to follow. It's another system, and then after that, they just have to create on it all the time, like and the meetings are very important, weekly meetings. Any new suggestions, any new ideas, you can find out more from your cleaners, from your employees, what the client said, but they didn't tell me directly. And they, any kind of communication. I think the most important thing, system and communication high level between your employees and with your clients. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think that's, if you don't have a good relationship with your clients and how you're talking to them, it just, you won't keep them for very long.
Yeah. And then the other thing, don't forget, sometimes because I do have graphs, right? Like I do need to see where we are going and I do need to keep statistics and see what is going on. And when I see something is going to the wrong direction, then I talk to the person or talk to who is actually in charge of that statistic. So I talk to the person, and first with communication, I try to find out what he or she is running into. So to find that out, to get the flows always going, meaning everything's smooth, right? Everything's going to the right direction again. Sometimes there are hidden ones, and that's the one that's again a third barrier in my life. So that sometimes comes in, and the communication, even if you're trying to find out because you know where it's coming from, the graphs are showing it to you, but the person is not telling you. That's another story.
Totally.
You just have to keep going and find out the answer because it does stop the smoothness of the company if somebody is sitting on something and not telling you.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate the questions. I know we're about to wrap up here. Okay. I guess for people who gonna want to get more information about you or kind of know who you are, maybe want your services on cleaning, or maybe they want you to fly to Florida or somewhere in New York or wherever. How can people reach out to you? How can people find out a little bit about you or talk to you about about your services specifically?
There's many ways, but basically I'm on social media anywhere. Facebook, Instagram, It's okay. LinkedIn. I don't know where this came from. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe they were in my mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, social, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Yeah. And website. My website is www.andisqualitycleaning.com. So
Nice.
there is also there my email address right there. They can just email to me. So basically that's what it is.
Nice. Awesome. Well, it's good. I'm hoping some people who are listening can definitely check out Andrea. She is definitely an amazing cleaner, and she just is a very smart individual who kind of knows a lot about cleaning. So definitely check her out. Definitely check her social media, and definitely reach out to her, because she definitely has a lot of experience and knowledge on what to do. And if you guys need her services, you could definitely call her as well. And of course, we thank you. And I thank you, Andrea, for joining the show. And, of course, taking command of your brand is part of our thing. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.